From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA for April 23rd, 2022, with breaking news as another direct deposited for stimulus check is coming. It's a huge one, and there's no less than 20 of them. What's going on? I have all the huge details as a new check D is unearthed. I have the latest breaking news on this broadcast, live on air from the shores of Santa Monica, California. It's Mornings LA. In this incredible recording, we'll go over the Build Back Better Act, the fourth stimulus recon being done by Congress. Then we'll be turning to those big fourth stimulus checks being done by presidential action by Joe Biden. They've landed by direct deposit, and there's brand news as well. Then we have the breaking news as other fourth stimulus checks are landing by direct deposit. Who are these checks from? There's 20 of them, and there could be more by the end of the week. Boy, it's a big day. Then we'll be turning to the developing details of that student loan debt forgiveness. 6 executive orders with more checks coming for students now being forgiven. All the latest details across that front as well. Then we'll be looking at that SS300 as J. Powell gave us new indications going into the weekend. But what does it mean for the new week and for your benefits for SS300? Then we'll be going over to 6 stimulus and the recessionary pressures, what the White House is doing, and what could send you even more money. In less than 48 hours from now, we will have the results from France, as it will determine whether it re-elects its French president. Big news for 6 stimulus, with a lot of things happening at the same time, but brand new checks landing by direct deposit. You're hearing them for the first time on this channel tonight, today, and starting right now live on air. You're going to meet Check D. Get ready for the debut of Check D today from the shores of Santa Monica, California. It's a big day with big money, and we're very excited. I'm very excited. They're coming by direct deposit. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, the coffee is brewing, and the deliciousness is just getting started. For April 23rd, 2022, this, my friends, is a big broadcast. It's Mornings, and the details start right here, right now, as Mornings LA gets underway from Santa Monica, California. And good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day for April 23rd, 2022. It's even more beautiful because new checks have landed, and these are huge. Fourth stimulus checks landing by direct deposit. And today in this broadcast live on air, which I gave you a teaser for members just an hour ago, I said, make sure you watch this recording because today I debut more fourth stimulus checks landing brand new by direct deposit. They're coming up in this recording. We're going to go over the Build Back Better Act. We're going to go over the SS300. We're going to go over the student loan debt forgiveness, and we'll go over this guy, Jay Powell. He's head of the Federal Reserve, and what he's doing in what he gave us indication going into the weekend. But out of nowhere, we have congressional fourth stimulus checks. We have presidential fourth stimulus checks. And now we have other fourth stimulus checks, upwards of 20 of them landing by direct deposit. And they're literally almost everywhere. It's getting very exciting. We can go over all those incredible details over this 1-hour broadcast live on air. But let's first start with the Build Back Better Act. The Build Back Better Act had a major series of major changes in the last 48 hours. The breaking news on Build Back Better Act today is insiders of the White House has a series of comments off the record. The first insider says that the White House will be doing the Build Back Better Act in the next few weeks because the U.S. agenda is back on front and center from Joseph Biden. He wants to get economic policy front and center because Americans apparently are growing a little bit tired of the focus on Ukraine. And that refocusing back on the U.S. agenda is passing the Build Back Better Act. Now, we can we bring Calendar Colleen in the set? Calendar Cog, can you come on in set? Let's go over the calendar. The midterm elections, election day, is November 2022, but you know that most Americans now vote by ballot in the mail. That means that balloting by mail could start as early as September. To get people checks, you want them to have the checks before they vote. So you want to have them have the checks by August. That means if you want to have the vote, you want to have the president sign into law, the Build Back Better Act, you want him to sign it into law by July. That means you want the Senate to finish it by June, and that means they want to finish the negotiations by May. Wow, that's quick. We're already right up to the present. That is why Build Back Better Act is likely to get done in the next few days, because the president wants those checks to land in your hands before you vote for the midterm elections. Another insider from the White House also said in the last 24 hours that the White House has new indication of where this economy is going by the end of the year. What number is at issue? There's a number called the GDP, the gross national product. If the number's positive, it means the economy's growing. If the number's negative, it means the economy's shrinking, and it means you're in a recession. So this last week, Wall Street said the current GDP in the United States could be 7.1%. It came in and missed at 6.9%. Then, what did this White House insider say? The White House insider says that by the end of the year, the number will be lower. What did Wall Street say? Wall Street said by the end of the year, the number will be 4% GDP. What did the Wall Street White House insider say? No, it'd actually be worse, 3.7%. This is why the comment was likely off the record, basically saying that Wall Street is projecting a higher growth for the U.S. economy than the White House is. The White House projecting only 3.7%. What am I projecting? I'm projecting the U.S. economy won't be growing by the end of the year. That'll be either 0 or less than 1% or negative, because I'm projecting 2 years of negative numbers, recessionary numbers, starting in 2023. And I'm not alone. Deutsche Bank, the German bank, has confirmed my reporting as well, saying we're going to have 2 years of recession starting in 2023. That's a negative number. What do we also get late Friday? Goldman Sachs said that there's a 35% chance we're in a recession next year. Them also saying a potential negative number. So Wall Street saying 4% GDP by the end of the year, me saying 0. What did the White House say? 3.7. The insider also went on to say that this is a good number because Germany's projected at 2.1% GDP, South Korea 2.5, and 3.7 for the United Kingdom. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way because we're a larger economy. We should have a larger number. So that's likely why the comment was off the record. Now, here's what's also going on, is that the White House is battling with a series of bad economic news in the last few days. And that bad economic news is good for you in the Build Back Better Act, because remember, the way they do stimulus is that when the U.S. economy is faltering, slipping, then they give you more money. Today, the economic data continues to slip. We have the housing starts down 4 consecutive months. We have the GDP number just slipping. We have the non-farm payroll jobs missing, 60,000 missing jobs. They're projecting a larger number. We have economic data after economic data. There's a miss. We have the mortgage rates at 5% when it was only 3% just 2 months ago, back in February. The economic data continues to falter across the board, and that is as view as Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, is saying we need to come in stronger with those inflationary rates. Now, let's go over what Jay Powell's doing. Jay Powell, he's head of the Federal Reserve. His job is to get down inflation. And he gets down inflation by raising interest rates. But where is that inflation? Why is this important for you? It's important for you because this is SS 300. Joe Biden, in his presidential platform, said he's going to swap that COLA for inflation. And that swapping for COLA for inflation is a lot more money for you if you're on benefits like SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and rural benefits. Why? If Joe Biden made that swap for COLA inflation right today, and if inflation was 8%, I'll go over that analysis in just a second, then that'll give you $200 more per month. Not just this month, not just this year, but lifetime. And if inflation was 4% later this year, that's another $100. That's SS 300. So what's going on? Your benefits are assessed based upon a benchmark. That benchmark is called COLA. It's a bad benchmark. Last December, it was 5%. So your benefits went up 5% in January. Not just January, not just this year, but lifetime. Because once your benefits go up, they never go down. But COLA cheated you. because inflation was 8% in December. I projected it. All last year I said 8% December, and not temporary. Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve had it wrong. They said 1 to 2% for 1 month and then coming back down. Transitory, temporary. They were wrong. 8% December, 8% in January, 8% in February. And what happened in March? Let's go over the data right now. Where is inflation right this moment? Well, we had the Consumer Price Index number released just days ago, and it showed when comparing February to March of this year, energy prices went up 11%. That's massive energy inflationary pressure. 1 month up 11%. Fresh fruits and vegetables and grains went up 3% in February to March of this year. This is getting worse inflation. This is going up higher. And all food products generally went up 2% February to March. The whole U.S. economy went up 0.3% inflationary pressures versus February, from February to March. So by all accounts, inflation is actually higher than 8% right today. So all that Joe Biden needs to do is make a phone call. Joe, make the call to call that Social Security Administrator head to swap that COLA for inflation right today, because that would lock in $200 more per month. And then what would happen later this year? Well, that brings us up to Jay Powell. Jay Powell had comments late Thursday at a late luncheon, where he said, you know what? We are going to do a half basis point increase for interest rates at the May FOMC meeting. This is no surprise to viewers of the channel, because I had said he's going to do 2 half basis point increases. Now, let's go over something I haven't said before on this channel. Going into this Thursday lunch, there were some Wall Street insiders who said Jay Powell may say 3/4 of a basis point. Ouch! We went from a quarter to a half, now talking about 3/4. So Jay Powell really wanted to silence that. He said, no, I'm doing a half basis point. Jay Powell said the following comments at that luncheon. He said it's appropriate, in my view, to be a little bit more aggressive. He's going to talk about front loading. He says a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more quickly to raise interest rates. I think there's something to be said for front end loading to accommodate one thing that's important. I would say 50 basis points would be on the table for the May meeting. Front loading means he wants to come in more aggressively now, and if he needs to do less later on, then he'll taper. What does this mean for your benefits? 2 meetings of 50 basis points, 1 confirmed so far by Jay Powell. I think you're fine, because guess what? It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. Jay Powell, in my opinion, is not going to get inflation down by raising interest rates. Why? Because Jay Powell does not have the tools to do it. Jay Powell can only raise interest rates, he will, which will give you higher student loan borrowing rates, higher car loan payments, mortgage payments if it's flexible, and credit card debt will go up higher. But will you get inflation down? No. Why? You have not 1, but 3 supply chain disruptions, none of which Jay Powell has a tool to fix. And that supply chain disruption causes price inflation. The first one was coming out of COVID. When we came out of COVID, we didn't have truck drivers or shippers. We still don't. We're behind. The second supply chain disruption was Vladimir Putin. He invaded Ukraine, caused supply chain disruption. That's still happening. The third supply chain disruption, no one saw coming, including Jay Powell. It came out of nowhere. And it's supply chain disruption caused by China. That supply chain disruption is the result of the following. Subvariant of Omicron. That subvariant of Omicron is sending China on lockdown. We make products in China and import them back here. We can't. China sells products to us. We can't get them. It's supply chain disruption third, and all the supply chain disruptions Jay Powell has no tools for. So in my opinion, I don't think he's going to get inflation down much at all. Now, let's go over the 2 parts of the equation. Jay Powell says he's going to get inflation down to 1.9% by the end of the year. Going to work? No, it's not going to work. It's going to get that down to about 4%. That means another $100 on top of your existing benefits. What about this next month? Going to get down from 8%, maybe 7%, 7.5%, but not a lot. So I think we're great if Joe Biden makes that swap from COLA to inflation right today. You're good. And I think that Jay Powell is not going to be helping the U.S. economy, because I don't think that his interest rate spikes are going to work. So Joe needs to make that swap from COLA to inflation right today. Now let's go back to Build Back Better Act. Build Back Better Act with Bernie and Joe has a lot of ammunition now, because guess what? Economy is stalling up. Inflationary pressures we just went over. Inflation's getting worse. Supply chain disruption still there. And that is why you're likely to see the vote on that Build Back Better Act in the next few weeks. But the great news is that when we talk about Build Back Better checks, we're talking about congressional forced stimulus checks. But there already are direct depositing presidential fourth stimulus checks. And they're brand new, and I'm going to go over how you get them in just a second. But also coming up is brand new, 20 brand new additional fourth stimulus checks that are brand new, being announced for the first time ever on this channel right today in this broadcast. They're coming up in a second. They're not congressional forced stimulus checks. They're not presidential forced stimulus checks. Who are these checks from for forced stimulus? They're coming up in just a second. But out of nowhere, the President of the United States is really doing a lot in a short period of time. Why? Because of those midterm elections. And guess what? The President is now doing student loan debt forgiveness. I'll go over that in a second. But let me turn to the exciting news that came in middle of last week. I told you that the state of Pennsylvania and the state of Maine were giving out state stimulus checks. Here's what happened with the state of Pennsylvania. A $2,000 state stimulus check is going out from Pennsylvania to its residents. Governor Tom Wolf said the following: Pennsylvanians should not have to choose between paying for higher utilities or groceries or childcare or gas. We have the opportunity, meaning we have the cash, and the means, we have the cash, to ensure that they're not struggling, to ensure their success. I'm asking my state to ensure that every Pennsylvanian gets these checks. We need to get this money out of the coffers, the bank accounts, and get it into the pockets of Pennsylvanians. The day after that, Maine announced a $500 stimulus check. Wow, that is huge. We're going to go over more about that in a second, but let me tell you how we got here. The way we got here was in 2020. In 2020, we had the negotiations of what was supposed to be the second stimulus package between Steve Mnuchin, then Treasury Secretary to Donald Trump, and Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi was saying that the states are going bankrupt. And Steve Mnuchin said, no, they aren't. They have a lot of money. Nancy Pelosi said, no, they don't. I said, they do. And what did Steve Mnuchin do? He put in a provision called use or lose. The concept is very simple. He ordered the states to use any money they have left over. And if they have money left over and they don't use it, they have to return it. They lose it. Return it back to Steve Mnuchin, back to Treasury. Guess who must have been watching? Because Janet Yellen, his successor under Joe Biden, now Treasury Secretary, has inserted that same provision into the third stimulus American Rescue Plan of early 2021. The provision reads as following: use the money or lose the money. And lose it means you return it back to me, Janet Yellen, by December 2022. Oh boy, folks, this is getting exciting. This is getting very exciting. Let's make this very clear that every state was given money and every state now is confronted with the issue of use or lose. So what's going on with the use or lose? Let me tell you what's going on. When the third stimulus package was passed, every state was given the same amount of money. Let's repeat that again. Every state was given the same amount of money based upon their residents. So if you had a state that had 10 residents versus a state that has 5 residents, you had double the money in the state that has 10 residents. Every state was given the same prorated amount of money based upon the state's population. They were given the same amount of money if it was a Republican state, if it's a Democrat state. If it's a rich state, it's a poor state. When I delivered the news on this channel, no less than the middle of this last week, that Pennsylvania was giving $2,000 out and Maine was giving out $500 stimulus check, I said to the viewership of this channel, you know what? Get ready, because there's going to be a lot more states. My prediction at the time is that you're going to see a lot more states come forward. And guess what's happened? I debut for the first time ever on this channel, starting right now, a brand new check, and this is why you want to be a member and stay a member of this channel. It is introducing Check D. Congratulations, because Check D is landing by direct deposit, and you're here for the first time on this broadcast starting right now. Let me go over what happened with Check D and what is going to be happening with Check D. Every state will use the money if they have it and not lose the money. And does every state have money? They do. Let's be very frank. Third stimulus had a lot of money in it given to states. And every state, you don't know how much money your state has because not your bank account, it's their bank account. Every state is now confronted with this use or lose deadline of December. They are no state is ever returning any money back to Janet Yellen. They're going to use every single last penny and send you out money. And guess what's happening? You're ready for the drum roll. You're ready for the applause. We now have 20 of 50 states from less than 48 hours ago when I told you more states are going to announce they're going to give you stimulus checks. We now have 20 of 50 states announcing they're doing a version or an actual stimulus check in the next few weeks. Congratulations. Let me go over what's going on. First, do states have money? Absolutely. I'm going to use one of the most clear examples. One viewer asked me about his state, but I think it's a very good example of a state. Kentucky. Mitch McConnell's home state, very Republican state, perceived sometimes as a poor state. Does Kentucky have leftover money? It does. It does. The most Republican, the most perceived poor state has money left over and has announced it's doing a version of a check. Wow. Let me tell you the breaking news today, this moment on Mornings LA live on air. It was less than 48 hours ago where I said you're going to see every single state come out and say we have something left over. Virtually every state. And in less than 48 hours from my projection, I got it right. Because guess what? We went from Maine and Pennsylvania to now 20 of 50 states so far in 48 hours saying we're going to be doing something. We're just getting started. We are just getting started. I fully project by the end of next week, we could go from 20 to the very edge of 50 states. What is the current status right now? Who's getting those checks? It's coming up in just a second. But the great news is that for the first time ever, you're going to see the real magnitude of how the newsletter on this channel is going to grow dramatically from even how large it was already. Because guess what? The membership newsletter 2 nights ago, starting on Wednesday night last week, started to include the state of Pennsylvania and Maine and their state stimulus checks. Guess what? The membership newsletter will now feature every state, what they're paying, how they're paying, when they're paying. It's incredible details, and it's coming up in just a second. But let's turn to the breaking details as well before we get more about to these state stimulus checks and the other presidential forced stimulus checks that are brand new, landed by direct deposit. We have a lot in today's recording. Let's turn to the exciting details of student loan debt forgiveness. You see how everything is ramping up so quickly? Well, what's ramping up really quickly on that student loan debt forgiveness is the President of the United States has now done 6 executive orders in 7 days because he wants to get you a lot of money for this student loan debt forgiveness out of nowhere. The President first forgave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled after graduation, then for individuals who went to work in the nonprofit or public sector after graduation. Just days ago came all these executive orders. The first one, if you have student loan debts currently owed, you don't have to pay them until May. No, now it's rolled over to September. Number 2, if you have student loan debts that have sent you into default, they're being put back into good standing. That's the second executive order. The third one, if your student loan debts were the result of fraud committed by the university against you, congratulations, your debts have been forgiven completely. And then came the biggie. I told you the biggie was coming. I told you this one's coming. It's John King. He was President Obama's education secretary under Obama Biden. And he said 2 weeks ago, Joe knows that he can forgive a lot more debts because we passed the laws under Barack's term. Well, guess what happened? My reporting again was correct because now what Miguel Cardona, Joe Biden's education secretary, has done is exactly what John King said he can do. They're taking the language of the student loan debts that have been issued to you and modifying the language so your debts are forgiven. As one viewer, Jeff John Myers, got $9,000 of student loan debts forgiven in the last 7 days. Wow. Another viewer as well had big success for his debts forgiven. But let me tell you the breaking news that came in from Cardona's office just about 48 hours ago. I'm not a good guy for loan reporting because I don't know loans. I don't know a lot about student loan debts, but I'm going to try my best. I'm going to give you the keywords. First, I want you to go to the Department of Education's website. Then I want you to pull open every press release in the last 7 days. Then I want to get you to ready to write down the following words. James Cavall, who's Education Secretary, Subsecretary under Miguel Cardona, said, here's the first words I want you to write down, IDR credit. We have an ongoing rulemaking. They'll take a look at what types of statutes we should qualify for IDR credit. And there'd be potential for us to change the rules or improve the rules, modify the rules, so that the process can go forward. So they're looking to change the IDR credit wording under the statute so more people can get qualified for student loan debt forgiveness. Get ready to write down these 4 words. Public Service Loan Forgiveness. It's a public service loan forgiveness program. And Cavall goes on to say, we're looking to immediately do student loan debt cancellation for hundreds of thousands of borrowers under the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program and several thousands of dollars for other people. Then, get ready for this last words. The income-based repayment programs. We're also looking at forgiving thousands of other borrowers under that program as well. The income service repayment programs. Wow. When we look at the situation and the landscape today, the great news is that the states are doing stimulus checks. Why are states doing 4th stimulus checks as well? Can we bring calendar Cod and calendar Colleen back in set? Let's run the calendar. Let's run the calendar. In the case of the state governors, what are they doing? First, it's a little bit different for a state governor than the President of the United States. When a state governor says he wants to do something, she wants to do something, it happens. It generally always happens. So if you see state number 1 saying we're announcing a check, it will happen. The announcement itself is the big one because that governor usually is the leader of the party of the state. His or her party is generally in control. So whatever he or she wants generally just does happen. Number 2, let's run the calendar. The states need to use or lose these 4 stimulus checks by December. But that does not mean they can wait to December to send you the check. They got to send you the check before December. So let's say it's November. That means they got to send the checks out by October. That means the governor of the state needs to sign this into law by about September or August. Sign it. Then, for him to sign the law, there has to be a law. That means the law has to pass by July. That means that the state Senate has to vote on it and pass it by June. That means that the state assembly has to pass it by May. That means I got to announce this yesterday. You see how quickly it's ramped up? Yeah, it takes a while to get a check out from a state. And that is why they're announcing it right today. And which states are getting state stimulus checks? It's coming up after this commercial break. We'll be looking at the direct deposit of state stimulus checks, and we'll be looking at the incredible direct deposit of presidential stimulus checks. It's brand new. We have presidential forced stimulus checks, we have state forced stimulus checks, and we have other stimulus checks coming up after the commercial break. I told you it was a big day, but first you better become a member because this is where all the information is. You want to be a member, and you want to stay a member. To America's most watched show for financial news in prime time. We'll have a lot of this in prime time at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time tonight. Become a member. The link's at the top of the chat and the pinned comment. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Get that newsletter delivered Monday through Friday. That features all this incredible information at 7 p.m. Pacific Time via the YouTube alerts. Meantime, I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as a big broadcast continues. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, we're just getting started after that commercial break and ready for direct depositing of some checks. It just getting started. It's mornings, and it's live on air.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues on Mornings LA, live on air, as we go into the big second half as a new check is debuted on this channel. Not one, but 20 of the checks. That's a huge day. And I'm so excited you're here. It's Mornings LA for April 23rd, 2022. We have in this big second half a series of different forced stimulus checks. What's important to understand was when you talk about Congress, there's congressional forced stimulus checks. Those aren't law yet. But we have presidential forced stimulus checks. They are law, and they've landed by direct deposit. I'm going to show you how to get them. And then out of nowhere, state forced stimulus checks have landed. Let's start with the breaking news on those fourth stimulus state stimulus checks. These are huge, and I debut for the first time on this channel ever, Checks D. Checks D's. At the time of today's recording of April 23rd, 2022, we have states now doing forced stimulus checks. And it's not just Pennsylvania and Maine, which was 48 hours ago. My anticipation, my projections, and my reporting came true. Because 2 days ago I said, you're going to see a lot more states in just a short period of time. Guess what happens today, folks? You have 20 states. 20 of 50 states have now either approved or about to approve stimulus checks for their citizens. Let me go over what's happening. There are so many states, I would predict that virtually every state has extra use or lose money in their state bank accounts, that they're going to spend the money on you. They're going to announce the spending of the money on you more in the next week. So of the 20 states, don't be surprised if it grows to 25 or 30 in just days from now. It's very fast moving because we went from 2 to 20 in 48 hours. How are they doing it? Every state is different. Let's go over the equation right today. And it's a very fluid situation, changing by the day, almost by the hour. At the time of today's recording, we have 20 states where about half of the states have approved the check, and the other half of the states are about to approve this check. The checks are very different from state to state. Some states, it's a pure check. Some states, it's not a pure check. In the case of Maine, I'm even seeing reportings where the check may actually be higher than initially reported just 48 hours ago. In some cases, it's a refund check. In other cases, it's not a pure check, but it's an allocation. For example, a lot of states are doing no taxes on your gasoline for a few months if you're within a certain income qualification. So they're changing things literally by the minute. Currently, 20 states doing things, of which 10 have done it, passed it by law and sending it out, and the other 10 states announcing it and about to make it law. Remember, if a governor says he or she wants to do something, it's going to happen. It's easier on the state level. But how do you know what your state is doing? How do you know when your state is doing? How do you know how your state is doing? Guess where it's going to be? All in the membership newsletter. In a 1-hour broadcast of this channel, even on Evenings LA, which is a very in-depth reporting every night at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, there's no time to report on 50 states in a 50-minute video. There's absolutely no time. So this is exactly where the membership newsletter comes in handy. The membership newsletter, which for the first time 48 hours ago added 2 states, will now feature all states that are doing Check D. Your forced stimulus check, Check D, will now be featured in the membership newsletter. It will feature the state, what the state has done, what the state is proposing to do, the status of the proposal. So when it switches from a bill to a law, the membership newsletter will show it. When they switch the amount, the membership newsletter will show it. And it'll go state by state by state. So if you want to know what your state is paying, and how it's paying or how it's doing it, become a member. The membership link's at the top of the chat and pinned comment. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. That is for stimulus, state stimulus direct depositing of checks. But we're not done there yet. I told you I got a big broadcast. There is presidential fourth stimulus checks being direct deposited. These are checks being sent out by the president, not by Congress, by executive order. These are the huge checks, and they're getting even better by the minute and by the day. The first check that is currently law by direct deposit by presidential fourth stimulus checks is a $6,500 check, upwards of $12,000. The president made this law just days ago. It's a brand new check. It pays $6,500 to $12,000. It's a fourth stimulus check. It's a presidential fourth stimulus check by executive order of Joe Biden. And it's called the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. The income qualification is so easy because it's just like third stimulus. Single individual, $75,000 or less, you can get it. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you can get it. And if you're on benefits, congratulations, because other people on benefits have gotten as well. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, rural benefits, or veterans benefits. So how do you get this Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check? First, you become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. The link is under the video where it says join as a member. Then you get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, delivered via the YouTube alerts. Then when you get that newsletter, you want to go right in there and look at the first few lines. There'll be the price of wheat and grain and oil today, and then right under that will be Check A. It'll tell you a little bit more about Check A, and then have a link to go right into the national website to apply. You choose the link, and then you choose your state, like Alabama. And then you choose the Alabama Home Weatherizing Grant Check, and you're ready to pounce and ready to get approved. Congratulations. You're getting your direct deposit of a fourth stimulus check. Then, when we go to Check B, it's even better because it's a lot more money. $15,000 to $80,000 direct deposit fourth stimulus checks are landing. These are presidential fourth stimulus direct deposit checks. The viewers of the channel, including the viewers on SSI and SSDI, are tracking at about $66,000 to $80,000 for this presidential fourth stimulus direct deposit check. This is the homeowners grant check. Income qualification, same as A, Check A. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000, you can get it. And then, if you're on benefits like Social Security or veterans benefits, you can get it as well. Where do you get this? Same way. Become a member first, get that newsletter next, then go in the newsletter. Right under Check A is Check B. It'll tell you more about what the money can be used for and then give you a link. You'll go into the national website and there it is. It'll show you a map like this. You click your state, let's say North Carolina, and you go right into the state. Then it'll have the link right into the state and you apply. The routing times when launched were about 1 week from approval. So once you get approved after submission, then you get funded within about a week. It's huge and it's absolutely wonderful. That is Check B, a presidential fourth stimulus check. Let's go to Check C, which in essence is really a congressional third stimulus check. And it is an MSC check. Boy, baby, this one is incredible. You know, as this channel approaches its 2-year anniversary in just 2 days from now, April 25th, 2022, this came back several years ago. Let's take a step back. In December 2020, we were waiting for Steve Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi to get us some money. They weren't, and you needed money. It was the holidays, 2020, December 2020. So I said, let me find some money, because that's what I do. I find people money, like you see I'm doing it today. I don't sit here with a script before a blank wall. I have some nice plans to find you some money. And so what did I do then? I found money. There wasn't a lot of it, trust me. There wasn't a lot of it. I found your rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and more. And I got viewers about $250,000. But the great news is that it helped people at the time. Like Tyrone, his family 4 out of Boston at the time. They did not have much money. Paid all their rent from December to February. It saved their lives, they told me at the time. But what's the best thing about it at the time was the training. At the time, I got exclusive. I got lucky. You got lucky. I had a document which was so helpful. The document was a preview of a potential piece of legislation for the next year. I said, I'm going to call this third stimulus. I coined the expression third stimulus, like I coined the expression for fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. I said, if this becomes law, there's going to be a lot of money in there because it's the same items I'm getting you right now, just a lot more of it. And it became law in early 2021. And I said, go get $15,000 from this. I think that's how much you can get from it because I've trained you how to get this money. I guess I had trained viewers really well because they didn't get $15,000. And they got on average $45,000. $45,000. The success stories kept on coming in by the minute, by the day. They still are. Let's look at the money for rent that viewers got. $27,000. This is what membership does to this channel. This is what watching the videos of this channel every single day helps viewers do. Get big sums of money. Look at these numbers for rent. $20,000 to $27,000. Let's look at the numbers for utilities. $15,000. Mark's brother-in-law got $25,000 a year for SNAP over the next 10 years, $250,000 because he watches this channel. Let's look at the combos. $32,000. We got even better than that. Get ready for Mark. He was at $32,000. Then he went to $50,000. Then he went to $100,000. Then he went to $166,000. Lorraine was at $105,000. Then she went to $120,000. Now, what happened? When third stimulus became a law, I told viewers get a round. A round is 3 or 4 months of rent. They did. Then last summer, they got another round. Last winter, I said, go get some Santa stimulus, 3 or 4 months. This February, I said, go get another round. They said no. And no. Excuse me, no. What do you mean no? They said, no, I want to do 12 months. I want to do it as an MSC check. Excuse me, you think you can do that? I don't teach that on this channel. They got it. They got it. They have been trained so well. They listened so well. They understood so well that they realized they can do more than 4 months. They did 12 months, averaging $2,000 a month, $24,000. They got their own MSC, and you can as well. You want to become a member today? We're going to go over where you do this, how you do this. It's so simple. It's just your pen and paper and a phone. Let's go over how to get these big sums of money. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, and your state housing authority. Now, if you're a member of this channel, you're going to reach out to more places because the membership newsletter has the nonprofits. As a member, you're going to reach out to 15 places. You sure ain't going to reach out to 1, and you sure ain't going to reach out to 6. Members have 15 plus places to reach out to. You're going to say rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. The key words you must say. Then you're going to reach out to all the places. If you're a member, 15 of them. Get multiple application on file. Do a whole year of checks if you can. Get that membership newsletter and get the nonprofits in that membership newsletter because they really help so well. You deserve these sums of money. Don't wait and get these wonderful congressional MSC checks that viewers have gotten. Viewers have cleaned up. About $35 million this channel has gotten in these last 2 years. Get these sums of money. Average channel's gotten, viewers got about $45,000. Get it right today. Get these big checks. You deserve them and pounce. That, my friends, is Check C, a wonderful MSC check. Whether it's Check C, whether it's the brand new Check D, whether it's Check A, B, and C, this is the benefit of becoming a news member to this channel. Get that membership right today. Go to the top of the chat, pin comment. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Then get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Also, do not forget to do this. 1, subscribe. You need to subscribe to get the alerts. Hit that subscribe button. Number 2, go to the Friends channel. There's a little bell. Hit the bell as a subscriber to turn alerts to all. Hit the bell to make alerts is all, not preferred. So you get the alerts when the newsletter comes out. And there you go. As we go into a big day with a lot of breaking news on a major evenings LA tonight at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, there's a lot for you to know. And what's important to know is that you're ahead of the game. As this channel approaches its 2-year anniversary, here's some personal thoughts of where we are today and where we're going. Do you see how much has happened in just one video? We have gotten the presidential direct deposit for stimulus checks. We have gone over the state direct deposit for stimulus checks. We've gone over the proposed congressional forced stimulus checks. We've gone over the student loan debt forgiveness, which is in essence a check because viewers are getting $9,000 forgiven. They don't have to pay that. There's $9,000 kept in their wallet. Then we've gone over the proposed SS300. There's a lot to know, and you know it. That is why this channel exists. When this channel launched, I started immediately going over very, very new stuff that people had never heard of. This channel launched on April 25th, and there was no PUA in America. It was launching in 3 days. Most Americans didn't know what PUA was. Most Americans had never asked for unemployment assistance ever in their life. They didn't have to, but it was a pandemic. Today, if you were to go to the supermarket, if you go to the front porch next door, if you're going to go to the person selling you the pretzel at the pretzel stand on the corner and ask them which states are saying out state stimulus check, they wouldn't even know what you're talking about. If you ask them what's going on with the inflationary rate and what is Jay Powell doing at the May FOMC meeting, they would look at you and perhaps go frozen. They wouldn't know what you're talking about. What I've shown you is don't worry about that. Don't ask other people for insight because they don't know the answers. You do. The reason why this channel succeeded is because I cover very detailed, ancillary, fringe, very, very specific information that is not front page news. It's not back page news. It is the big money that can be available to you. And I give you the guidance of where this U.S. economy is going. And so far, I've been right. That guidance, that specificity, those details, you ain't going to see anywhere else. And ultimately, if you go to ask someone about it somewhere else, whether it's the neighborhood or the supermarket or the car wash, they won't know what you're talking about. Do not do it. Focus on me, focus on you. Come to camera when you watch videos per day and do not miss a video with the newsletter in hand. Have the newsletter in front of you. Read the newsletter and follow the newsletter along as I go over what's in the video. You now see the newsletters growing dramatically this week. It's growing dramatically because now I got presidential stimulus checks, I got state stimulus checks, I got congressional stimulus checks, I got all these other versions with Jay Powell and all these other things going on that there's a lot to go over. It's all in the membership newsletter, and it's all explained between me and you. Join me next as we have a brand new Evenings LA at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, a big Afternoons LA today, a big noontime show at 11 a.m. And from the shores of Santa Monica, California, the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering. You didn't think that you were going to hear 20 new checks announced on a weekend, but that's what happens on this channel. And that's why you want to become a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday. Get these checks. You're a step of the game. You have the information that people wish they had. You have it because you're a viewer. You have it because you're a subscriber. You have it because you're with LALATE. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.